Hello friends, it's Terry with Crafty Book Nerd here today to share with you the books that I read for February of 2024. But first, you know what time it is, time for our quote of the day. And today's quote says, "When you focus on problems, you'll have more problems. When you focus on possibilities, you'll have more opportunities." So I hope you are focusing on those possibilities today. So I had a great reading month in February. I think we did 7 or 8 spins, and I had to do some extras because I ended up reading and or listening to 12 books, and most of them were 4 and 5 stars. I had some really great books this month, and we're going to talk about those. And then after that, we're going to do our spin the wheel for March to see what we'll be reading. So let me get these out of the way. And we'll start. I kind of tried to rate them from some of my least favorites up to my favorites. For the spin, I did 2 book of the months. 1 is a YouTube recommendation. 1 was my choice. 2 from the library. 2 from a series. 3 audiobooks and 1 Kindle book. So I had a variety of different ways that I read books this month. Let's start with Sisters by Daisy Johnson. I'm not even sure why I picked this one up, but I can tell you it was hard to get through. It's about 2 sisters, July and September, born very close to each other, and they are wrestling with their identity and how one begins and one ends. And it's just a twisted story, and they are hoping for a quieter life, but that doesn't necessarily work out for them. It's about sibling love. It was confusing at times and hard to follow and understand and see where the story was going. I just did not care for it. I gave it 3 stars. I'm sorry, 2 stars, not 3. 2 stars for Sisters. The next one was a YouTube recommendation from the Currently Reading podcast that I listened to, and that one was Flores and Miss Paula. This is about a daughter and mother and how they are coping with the loss of a father and a husband. And they begin to realize that without him, they don't have much of a relationship. I never became invested in these characters. There were other side stories brought in that confused me about what was going on. It was an okay read. I gave it 3 stars. That's Flores and Miss Paula by Melissa Rivero. The next one was from the library. I think this was also a Currently Reading podcast recommendation, Dirty Laundry by Disha Boyce. This one was interesting. It was a domestic suspense about women who lived in the same neighborhood. And to me, they were so busy trying to see what the other one was doing, they were letting their own households fall apart. It's a story about things that happened in the past and the present. It was really hard to follow at times. It was a good premise, but it fell short for me. And I gave this one also 3 stars. Next, I spun the wheel and had a series, and I got that twice. So I decided to read 2 books in the same series, which leaves me just 1 in this series. And this is the Key trilogy. And I did Key of Light, and these are by Nora Roberts. This is the first one, Key of Light. And in this book, we have 3 women who don't seem to have anything in common. There's Mallory, who manages an art gallery. There's Dana, who's a librarian. And there's Zoe, who is a single mother. Each one of them receive an invitation to an infamous estate where a challenge is presented to them, where they must find 3 keys. They are offered money to take on this endeavor, and each one of the ladies does need financial help, and so they agree to take on this endeavor. Had a little bit of magic in it. It was fun. I really enjoyed it more than I thought I would. And the second one just continues with them finding key number 2, the key of knowledge. Each one of them have significant others that are brought into the story, and it's interesting to see what role they play. And I'm ready to start book 3 to see what happens in this Key trilogy. So that's Key of Light and Key of Knowledge by Nora Roberts. Can't wait to finish this one. I gave those 4 stars. All right, next is an audiobook, and I started listening to this author based on a friend of mine, Brenda. She recommended, I think the first one was The Girls Who Disappeared, and by Claire Douglas. And y'all, I love them. I think I've read 3 or 4, I think, this month. I mean, listen to. The audiobooks are fantastic. Claire Douglas is now an author I would like to read to zero, so I'm really enjoying her books. So the first one that I have here is Then She Vanishes. And in this one, we have 3 friends in 1994, and one of the girls, who is 16, Flora, vanishes. And now it's 25 years later, and an event occurs, and Jess, who is a journalist, comes to the town, the sleepy seaside town, to discover what happened with Flora and her sister Heather 25 years earlier. Like I said, I loved the audio. There are twists and turns, things you don't see coming. Some things I figured out, some I didn't. It's just kind of a keep you on the edge of your seat. And it's not a long audio book, and so it's easy to get through. So Then She Vanishes, I gave 4 stars to. Then, like I said, the first one that I had read or listened to from Claire Douglas was The Girls Who Disappeared. And this one was also kind of a past and a present. In this one, we have a car crash that occurred 20 years ago. And 4 girls were in a car crash, but only one of them returned home. And now it is 20 years later, and we have a journalist, see a theme here, coming to find out the truth of what happened to those missing girls. And as she, the journalist, Jenna, becomes closer to the story, her life is threatened. And she is trying to find out the mystery of what happened. And it was really, really good, with so many twists and turns and surprises I never saw coming. And this one, which was my first Claire Douglas, I gave 5 stars to. Next one is another Claire Douglas, The Couple at Number 9, another one of the audiobooks that I listened to. This is about a young lady. Her name is Saffron. They call her Saffy for short. And she is pregnant, and her fiance, Tom, have moved into a cottage that her grandmother, Rose, used to live in. And they like the cottage, but it's really old and they want to do some renovations. Well, when the renovations begin, the people who are doing them happen to dig up 2 bodies. And that's where the fun begins, because nobody knows who these 2 bodies are, and they have decided that those bodies have probably been there for 30 years. So the officers want to question Saffy's grandmother, Rose, who is in a home and is in the early stages of Alzheimer's. And she is very confused. And they are trying to get answers from her. And Saffy goes on a mission with her mother to see if they can figure out who these bodies are and how it ties in to the family. It was so good. Another one I probably listened to within a couple days. Could not stop listening. Highly recommend it. 5 stars for me. The Couple at Number 9. The next one is Freida McFadden, and she is another author I want to read to zero, and this one was called The Inmate. And this was really good. This was my choice. I actually had got this one from the library and had to turn it in. So most of these either were library books, or I have the book, but I loaned them to somebody, or they were an audio. That's why I don't have the physical copies of the books. I would like to collect some of Claire Douglas books, though. So in this one, we have Brooke, who is a nurse. She gets a job at a prison. And she knows that at this prison is her high school boyfriend, Shane, who was sentenced to life for grisly murders when they were in high school. And Brooke's testimony is the testimony that put him away. And Shane has not forgotten that. And so they have some encounters in the prison, and some interesting things happen. And Brooke begins to question that night of the murders. And also, she has a son who is Shane's son, so that comes into play. It's very twisty. A lot of new information comes to light that Brooke finds out. and it's just really good. And Frida, she got me again. She fooled me again, and I just really enjoyed it and gave it 4 stars. The next book is Anna O by Matthew Blake, and this one I got from the library. This was a crazy book. I think I heard about it from somebody on YouTube. I don't remember. And it sounded interesting, and let me give you the premise. Think about this. If someone is sleepwalking and commits a crime, are they guilty? Do they know what they did? Well, that's what happens in this story. Anna has committed murder, and then while she is sleepwalking, she commits these murders, and once they're over, she goes to sleep and doesn't wake up. Well, they bring in this doctor, Dr. Prince, who is an expert on sleep-related illnesses, and he is hoping to wake her up so they can find out what happened and put her on trial for these murders. It really makes you ask a question of, are we responsible for what we do when we sleepwalk? You're going to have to read it to find out what happens to Anna. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. It was a 4-star for me. The next one we have was one of the book of the months that I read this month, and that was The Fury by Alex Michaelides. And I really enjoyed it, but not as much as The Silent Patient. I've read all of his books, but The Silent Patient is still my favorite. But I did enjoy this one. It's written in a very unique way. It's a perfect setting for a murder. We've got an isolated island where very little communication can get through or get out. We've got a movie star. We've got love triangles. We've got friendships that are not so friendly anymore. There are twists and turns as we try to unravel it all. It was definitely a surprise ending for me, and that's The Fury, and it was really good. So there you have it. Those are the books that I read. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot one because I don't have the physical book in front of me. I have this, and it was my favorite book of the month and probably will be in my top 10 for the year. And if you haven't read it, you have to read it, and that is Christian Hannah, The Women. I do have the book. I chose it for my book of the month, but I loaned it to a friend. I finished this book in like 2 days. I could not put it down. After I read it, I was so interested in what happened in Vietnam, because when Vietnam was going on, I was about 8, 9 years old, and so of course I don't know a lot about it. I did call my dad because my dad was an airplane mechanic and during Vietnam, and what he used to do is fly over on the airplane with the supplies to where they were fighting to deliver those supplies, and if there were any problems with the airplane, he was there to fix it. He also told me that when he went into those situations, he was given combat pay. I don't know how much it was. It'd be interesting to find that out. But anyway, in this story, we have a nurse who goes into Vietnam, and it is her story, and it's the story about what she faces and the conditions that she's living in, what she's having to deal with. It's very gory at times. It's about the relationship she has with some of the patients and the other people who work there. This book is so phenomenal. It's just really hard to put into words. If you are not a big reader and you don't read but a few books a year, please, please, please pick up Christian Hannah's The Women. So, so good. All right, now that we've done that, let's do our March spins and see what I'm going to pick up to read in March. I'm currently reading 2 books right now. Actually, I'm listening to Do Not Disturb by Claire Douglas, and then I'm doing my book club, which is You Again by Kate Goldbrick for the month of March. So I've got those 2 going on right now. So let's see what else we can get for spins. Okay, all right, here we go. Let's see, make sure y'all can see that. Should I do it that way? No, I think flat's better. And just a little bit. And we will spin. Oop. Okay, here we go. Spin one. Oh, I need to turn up the sound so we can hear it, huh? Let me turn the sound up. Okay, spin one is My Choice. That's easy because I have lots of books I could choose for that. I'm gonna get this fixed. I don't like the way it's laying. Okay, turn around. Thank you. I don't know what that went to. Okay, good. Okay, done with that one. All right, spin number two. Okay, I see what's happening. It's that commercial, and I can't close the commercial there. I'm going to try to put a piece of paper or something over it. Oh, a book of the month. That's going to be easy because I just got in some really good book of the months. I picked 3 for March. I couldn't help myself. Okay. All right. Spin number 3. Number 3. I need to get series so I can finish my other one. Oh, a new release. A new release or a book of the month, as long as it was in 2024. Okay. All right. Spin number 4 coming up. Still lost my sound. Kindle. That's an easy one. I got lots of books on my Kindle. I don't know why the sound's not working, so we don't get to hear it. I think I know. I think it's connected to my headphones. So that's at Kindle. Okay, that's 4. Let's do a number 5. Another new release. So that's 2 of those. All right. Number 6. Sorry, we don't have any sound. Another new release. Okay. Well, that's those 3 books I just got. I could read all 3 of those. That's 3, 4, 5. That's 6. I've been averaging about 10 books a month. So let's see. I'm reading 2 now. So let's do a couple more spins. Ooh, I need to do a NetGalley. That's an awesome choice. I need to get into my NetGalley books. Okay. This is spin number 8. Another Kindle. That's 2 Kindles. I don't have any audiobooks, but I can promise you I'm finishing one and I may listen. Okay, so that's 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 8. We're going to do one more spin just in case I need it. Come on, something different. All right, book of the month. I am going to be tackling. Now, this one for book of the month could be from 2023. This could be from any year, just so it's a book of the month. Okay, so we ended up with My Choice. Oh, I had 2 book of the months from any month, from any year, any month, 2 of those. 3 new releases or book of the months for 2024, 2 Kindles, and a NetGalley. So that gives me 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, I can't add. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That gives me 9. And then I've got 2 that going on right now. So that will be 11 if I finished all those. So, all right. I'm excited to get into more reading for y'all. And also, just a little heads up, I will link it. I did a video a couple weeks ago where if you subscribed and shared and commented, you would be in the drawing for the door prizes. And you need to watch that video and do those things for me. I am not quite at 500 subscribers, and I was thinking today, if each one of you could get one person to subscribe to my channel, I could get to 1,000 really quick, and that would be really awesome. I appreciate those of you who come and listen to my videos and share it with everyone that you know. And happy reading, and I'll see you next time on Crafty Book Nerd.